Hello guys and welcome back to another UCAT video. Today we'll be discussing abstract reasoning because this has been requested, and really this will work in the same way as our other videos, so you'll get a chance to have a look at the questions we're doing and then we'll explain how we would do the questions. So let's begin. So here we have the abstract reasoning official question bank up, and we'll just kind of go through the questions that we see. Okay, so my primary tip for the UCAT abstract reasoning section is just to get as much exposure to different types of questions as possible, and that way you'll be able to get all the patterns by instinct in the future when you actually come to do the exam, because you don't actually have time in the exam to go through the SCANS acronym. It's mainly during practice that actually is useful. So having had a go at this set, how I would approach this is to compare the features in both sets. So in both set A and set B, we have similar sort of shapes. So the two angled triangles and the circles, and we have the black dots as well. So since they have similar shapes, it's not going to be to do with the shapes that are present, but more to do with the arrangement. So if we look at, if there's a black dot present here, we see that the white circle moves clockwise 90 degrees, whereas if a black dot is present here, then the white circle moves anti-clockwise by 90 degrees, and that is simply the pattern. So once you work the pattern out, you can then select the options. So in this test shape, we have a black dot here, so the white circle moves clockwise. So that would be in set A, but then we have to check this black dot as well. So yes, we do get another clockwise movement, so set A. In this one, we have the white circle moving anti-clockwise, so that makes it set B. Here we have the white circle moving clockwise, so that's set A, and then clockwise again, so that's definitely set A. Here it moves clockwise and then clockwise, so that's set A again. And lastly, we have it moving clockwise, but then staying the same. So actually, even though that's set A, that doesn't fit set A or set B, so it's neither. So if we were to check the answers, let's just go back to the first question. Yep, so they explain the pattern here, which is exactly what I said, and then A is a correct answer for this one, B for this one, A for this one, A for this one, and C for this one. So once you work the pattern out, it's really difficult to get anything wrong.
Okay, so I'll have a go at doing another one of these set A, set B questions. So now that you've had a go, I'm looking at set A and set B to see what the sort of differences are. So immediately I can see that in set A, a gray circle means there's only one connection at the bottom. Yeah, so there's only one connection, but a circle means that there are two connections, and that's something that I've spotted. But in set B, it looks like the opposite is the case. So often the patterns in set A and set B are related. So you can use that to work things out fairly quickly. So now that I've got the pattern, the rest of the four marks should be fine. So which of these belong in set A? So set A has gray circle means one connection, white circle means two connection, and I'm looking at A to be one of the shapes that belongs in set A. Right, so now it's time for set B. It's A again. Don't know how this is possible. Okay. For this one, I think it's B. Oh no, no. I need to be careful there because the white the as in the top shape in the pattern is black and here is white, so I know it can't be B. I know it can't be A, so it has to be D, and it can't be C either because it doesn't have the black square.
Yeah, so what will often be the case is that there's a pattern that most people can get, so the grey and white circle one, but then there's a more subtle pattern that the more sort of alert people will get. So the fact that there's a black square at the top.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a connection with the bottom squares, so that's a red herring. Okay, another one. Which one's in set B? It looks like it's A. Yep. We're getting a lot of A's, but don't be put off. What's going on? Why are they all A? Okay, it's A again.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the answers. Oh. So here they say what the rule is, and the answer is A. A, again. So there's D.
Oh,
B for this one.
Right.
Which of the following belongs to set B rather than A?
Oh, okay. This is just a simple mistake by me. Yeah, I just got confused.
But this one is definitely A. Yep. So apart from making silly mistakes, you can see that again, once you got the rule, everything else is crystal clear. So sometimes the pattern will literally scream out at you. So this one is quite simply curved sides versus straight sides. And don't be put off if the rule is too simple, because the rule is not always really convoluted. Sometimes it is just really simple like this. So this would be A, B, and also color is a distractor because sometimes you have white shapes, sometimes you have black shapes. There's not really any sort of correlation between what makes them black and what makes them white. This would be neither. This would be A, and this would be neither.
Yep, that's quite a simple one.
So all of the shapes have figures with curved edges. So this is A, this is B, C, A, and C. I'll do one more set A, B, or neither question.
Right. So once I've had a go, I'm looking at the pattern. So I noticed in both sets there's different shapes, and they're the same shape on the opposite end. I'm also like adding up the number of sides. I'm not really sure what the pattern is for this one.
So in this case, if you're running out of time in the exam and you can't figure out the pattern, then you would have to guess. You'll usually get 2 out of 5 by guessing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, if I was in an exam, because you have so little time for this, I'll probably just guess the set and move on.
Yeah. In this situation, because all the shapes seem pretty similar, so all the boxes seem quite similar, you can do the technique I call matching. So kind of matching which set this test shape belongs in. That seems to belong in the best.
Okay. Probably neither. Looks like A. That's like B. That looks like B. What's this? I guess another neither.
Either.
Too many sides.
Okay, so in general, when you're guessing, there's either using the matching method, which is comparing the test shape to whichever set it seems to belong the best in, but there's also a technique of selecting the same option. Either way, you tend to generally get 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 correct. But in terms of what the rule actually is, so in both sets there are 2 pairs of shapes. If it forms a cross like this, then all the shapes are white. If it forms a sort of north, south, east, west cross, then there's 2 white, 2 black. Whereas
right,
here,
okay.
if there's 2 white, 2 black, it forms the X-shaped cross. Whereas if they're all black, it forms the north, south, east, west cross.
Right. Yeah. I
So,
wasn't looking at like cross direction.
Yeah, so this would be to do the arrangement. Okay, so set A, B, neither questions constitute the most of your 55 questions in total. So it will form around 45 questions. The rest of them will be the complete a statement and complete a series questions. So this is a complete a statement type question where they're like, this is to this, or this is to this. And the trick here is to not get bogged down with everything that's going on, but just to take one element at a time and see how that changes. So for example, if we look at the things inside the box, they now go outside the box and they don't change position. So here, for example, we expect the equal sign to go to the top. So it's going to be either B or D.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens outside is that they kind of move around clockwise and then go into the square. So percentage sign moves around clockwise, goes into the square. So we'll have this one moving around clockwise, go into the square. So therefore it has to be D.
Yeah.
And that should be the correct answer. So just focusing on one element at a time will get you the answer really easily. But do bear in mind these questions take more than the 14 seconds on average you're allowed. So do the A, B, neither questions slightly quicker to have time to do these questions.
And now you also get complete the series questions where there'll be like a pattern, or I mean there'll be like 4 shapes, and then each time there's a new square, there'll be a change in the shape, which often follows a pattern, and you have to find the pattern and complete the series. So I'm looking at the first 2 squares right now. And I can see that the colors are moving clockwise, and the colors are moving clockwise again and again. So I'll first start by working out which ones it's not. So it's not D. It's not A either, so it's either B or C. Now, in terms of the directions the arrows are pointing, so it doesn't change for the first 2 squares, and then it changes a lot for on the 3rd square. I mean, if I just look at the white arrow itself, it looks like it's like rotating for 45 degrees each time. So I know the answer is B. I mean, not square, arrow.
That's the correct rationale. So by focusing on one element at a time, Kyushu was able to narrow down the options to, what was it, either B or C, is that right? And then
Yeah.
chose B out of that because of how the white arrow changed. So that more or less covers all the types of questions in abstract reasoning. And And what I would recommend is to do as much practice as possible. So Medify has thousands of abstract reasoning questions. So does MedEntry. You can use the official bank as well. Basically, the more exposure you have in the actual exam, the quicker you'll get the pattern, because it's more likely that you'll have seen the pattern before. And for the patterns that you aren't able to get, maybe take a screenshot or a photo of it and store it in like a library somewhere, so you can keep going back to them and reviewing them to make sure you can get them in the future. So that's all from us. We wish you good luck with abstract reasoning, and hopefully you come out with a high score in the real exam.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.